Hey, this is Victor Antonio, and welcome to today's Victor Report. Today we're going to talk about mindset, success and mindset. This is a good one, and I have proof. I'm going to show you that it is about how you think. Remember, I've always said A, B, C. No, not always be closing. I always said attitude will drive your behavior, which will drive your consequence. Let me say it again. Your attitude will drive your behavior. Those behaviors will drive the consequences you receive. Get the idea? And this is a perfect example of ABC. Here it is. So John writes me about a month ago. Back in November, he writes the following. He says, Victor, good evening. Your advice about mindset and how I am responsible for my own sales success, not trading, not marketing, not the engineers, is fantastic and keeps me grounded in the sales arena. It says, currently, I'm in a third round for a position, and it looks promising. In 3 weeks, I'm scheduled to fly to that location for the final interview. Ooh, he's getting so close to that job. The director of sales requested I create a 90-day plan. My concern with this reasonable request is that he asked I detail it out week by week. In your opinion, is this an ominous sign of micromanagement style? Question mark. Thank you for your time. Now, let me say again, let me repeat what he's asking for. The director of sales requested I create a 90-day plan. My concern, says John, my concern with this reasonable request is that he asked I detail it out week by week. Victor, in your opinion, is this an ominous sign of micromanagement? In other words, is this person going to be a micromanager? That's what he's concerned about. And so I responded within a day or two. In fact, the next day I responded. I said, John, well, that is unique. I said, I've heard of 90-day plans with broad strokes on what you would do in the first 30, 60, 90 days, but never week by week. It's the first time I've ever heard of that. So it could be an ominous sign of micromanagement, or simply, I suggested, a test to see how bad you really want the job. My approach, my suggestion to him was, if I were you, I'd work it backwards. What 3 things or more would they want me to achieve in 90 days? That's the question I would ask myself, I told them. Based on those 3 things, what would you do to achieve those goals? I'm challenging him now. What would be some of the pitfalls you may need to look out for? And then I summarized it like this. This is the important part. I said, John, shift your mindset from an ominous sign of micromanagement to a quote unquote, literally I put this phrase in here, cool challenge. In other words, a mental head game, if you will, I said. Have fun with it. I think as you go through the process, you'll find holes or questions in your thinking. Maybe that's the intent all along, to get you to really think about this. So what I suggested to him was, hey, don't think about this as maybe an ominous sign. Things may go wrong. This guy might be a micromanager and things could go bad. In fact, view this 90-day challenge, laying things out week by week, as a cool challenge to kind of maybe walk through the process mentally. Have you do that, and maybe you'll start discovering things. Now, this is important because, first of all, I'm asking him to shift his mindset. Don't look at it as something negative, like an ominous, sign of micromanagement, but maybe take it on as a cool challenge. But the second piece of that is, during that challenge, you actually may discover things about yourself that you don't know, which will better prepare you for the follow-up interview, the third interview. So today, almost a month later, I get an email from John. Check it out. It says, Victor, good evening. I want to thank you for your suggestions of adopting the attitude toward my 90-day plan, creating tasks as a cool challenge. He says, I'm here to announce that they have made me a job offer. I have enthusiastically accepted. January 5th is my start date. Santa delivered early. Now the learning and the work begins. I will continue to use your YouTube videos as a resource. Thank you for your guidance and your support. Stay great. Isn't that cool? Now, by the way, congratulations, John. What's cool about this is that there's 2 ways it's a great example of how sometimes we commit what is known as the fundamental attribution error. The fundamental attribution error is that when we attribute something to an idea or an action, which is totally wrong. In other words, John's immediate reaction to the guy challenging him, the director of sales, saying, give me a 90-day plan, detail it out week by week, he viewed that, he attributed that might be a sign of micromanagement. Well, I shifted his paradigm and says, no, maybe it's a cool challenge, something that will actually help you walk through the process so you'll really know what you'll be doing within the first 90 days. By shifting his attitude, he took a different approach. He then submitted his 90-day plan, I'm assuming, which is what got him the job in the end. Now, again, it's all about shifting our attitude. Sometimes we're so concerned about something that we go, oh, that's not going to work. Maybe I don't want to work with that person. And sometimes maybe we want to be open to the fact that maybe working with somebody new for the first time, maybe an interesting challenge. Let's see where that leads us. Again, experimentation is not a bad thing. That's part of the learning process. What John learned is that sometimes our attitude could define our behavior. Now imagine for a moment that he had taken the ominous sign of micromanagement. And he says, you know what, I'm not going to respond to this because, there's no point in following up on this job because I can see this is going to be a horrible manager who every day I walk into the office, he's going to want me to, punch in a time clock, making that part up. Maybe every day I have to fill out a report at the end of the day. I have to report everything. I have to check with him on everything. You know what? This looks like it's not for me. I'm going to let it go. And that behavior, saying, let me let it go, would have led to one consequence. No job. Now he has to go look for another one. But he still has that bad attitude. By shifting his attitude into something like, hey, this is going to be a cool challenge, it changed his mindset, which changed his behavior. The behavior was, hey, let me put something together. Now I'll put it together with a better attitude. Let's see how this works out. Let me roll it out. And the consequence was, obviously, a job offer. So keep this in mind. A, B, C. Attitude will drive your behavior, which will drive your consequence. If you have a negative attitude, it'll drive negative behavior, which will generate negative consequence. I'm stating the obvious. If it's positive, we know what happens. Good things. So remember, A, B, C, attitude, behavior, consequence. This is Victor Antonio with the Victor Report. See you tomorrow. Maintain that mindset. Later.